everyone. Welcome to another episode of Into the Pit. I'm so happy to welcome KD Stafford, and that's KD, not Katie, because my wife was like, who the hell are you talking to that's named Katie?
That would be my wife.
Okay, so there is a Katie, just I'm not talking to her. So how you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm living the dream. Staying at home, watching TV, and getting fat.
Getting fat. Well, I think we'll have plenty of time to work all that off after all this is over.
God,
So
we're going stir crazy, dude.
yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, I am, like we talked about earlier, this is kind of my thing. Is I'm kind of recluse anyway, so.
Yeah.
It's not that much different for me. Obviously there's a lot of things that have to change as far as attending events and stuff like that. A lot of that's been done away with for now, but yeah. That kind of sucks.
So you were going to go to Pasadena?
Yeah, we had an event to do there. It was a convention, and they had to cancel that one, and so.
I'm assuming it was at the big convention center there in Pasadena.
Yes, I can't remember what it's called, but yes.
The Pasadena Convention Center.
There we go.
That's
I knew that. See, I knew that.
The only reason I remember that is you don't know how many times I had to go out there to fix water leaks.
And see, that's not like a out of the ordinary thing. You have the Kansas City Convention Center, and yeah. So yeah.
Hey, just think all the places you get invited. You got to make a mistake every once in a while.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's why I try not to like call places out by name too much. I'll just say I don't remember the name of the convention center. I'll just say, most times I'm good at remembering the name of the convention, but not the convention center. But if I can't remember, I will just opt to not say it. Because I'd rather not say it than say the wrong one.
I hear you. Well, I'll tell you what, that one there in Pasadena, I told you earlier, it's just outside of Houston. Man, I've seen Ted Nugent there. I've seen Mickey Gilley out there. And they have, conventions, like tattoo conventions. Oh, my God, man. It's one of the biggest tattoo conventions out there. And it's an awesome place.
Yeah, I saw that they were having some other events that were tattoo related, and I'm kind of a fan myself of tattoos and whatnot. So
Maybe
I can
a
dig
little
it.
bit.
Yeah, I can dig it. And this arm here.
So let's get into the good stuff. Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in South Carolina. Multiple, mostly within the upstate, right there in South Carolina. I lived there for 27 years, actually. And until I actually joined the Army at 27. That's when I actually first left.
Yes, and I told you before we even got to talk, I really appreciate your service. And everybody at the network wants to send out that gratitude, because it takes someone special to do that.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I loved it when I did it. I look back and I think, was it completely necessary to do it at 27? But yeah, it was. I stayed in for, nearly 8 years. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I planned on staying in, until I got out, or until I retired.
Yeah.
But I ended up, they had a mass exodus, and so, yeah. And here I am now. So,
and
I made it.
Well.
Everything's good. So I appreciate everybody who thanks me for my service. And yeah.
So do you ever talk to people in public about, your time overseas and that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I don't have a problem talking about it. Uh, there's some things I don't particularly like to talk about,
Of
but
course, of
for
course.
the majority of it, I mean, I doing what I did, it wasn't. I don't have a problem talking about most of it. I was a mechanic technician while I was the NCO for my second deployment, and so we worked on the route clearance equipment. So we would roll out with route clearance, and that's basically what we did. We just, we were with a combat engineer company. I was for the majority of my time. So my deployments consisted of route clearance, which is riding and looking for IEDs, clearing roads for IEDs, and um, working on the vehicles that completed those type of missions. So and we would roll out with them, and we would be like the maintenance expert on the ground there, and in case, well, I mean, stuff get blown up all the time, or you're constantly running over IEDs. Uh, it's most times everybody was okay. Most times. But yeah, it was because the vehicles that we had that they'd finally developed. We had we have the whole shape, so that helps. I won't go in all the details, but anybody who's in the military or has been in the past decade knows what I'm talking about. So.
Oh man, I mean, does that still bother you? You ever think about that kind of stuff, even though you've been out for a while?
Oh yeah, I don't. I think there's probably a lot of things that you never are going to stop thinking about, or people you're not going to stop thinking about. And so yeah, there's always going to be that stuff there, but it's something that we have to learn how to deal with, and it's hard, and a lot of people have had a lot of really bad things happen to them. I was very fortunate. I didn't get as probably as traumatized as a lot of people have been, but a lot of people have been subject to some pretty severe things, and you know so I it's bad, and looking back on it, it was it was bad then, but it probably didn't seem as bad at the time, so it's kind of weird. There's a lot of mixed
Yeah.
uh like emotions on that. So
Well, I still feel like they don't do enough for you guys that come out of the wars and come back to try to readjust to society. And some of you are able to do it, but there's some that just they can't cope,
yeah,
and it's
and
sad.
it is sad. It's something that but it's part of what we do. You know, it's part of being in the military is taking care of yourself too, right? So, um, you know, you identify there's a problem. And I understand a lot of people have. There's a lot of. I think a big problem is there's a lot of already like pre-existing underlying mental health issues anyway with a
Hmm.
lot of people, and because soldiers just like everybody else, a lot of people will put us up on a pedestal and kind of see no wrong or anything, but it's not always that way. I mean, we're people just like everybody else. So yeah, but that's something you have to take care of, and if you don't, you're going to end up hurting a lot of people, and that makes it a responsibility that comes along with being in the military. Like it's a voluntary military, so you have
Yeah.
to you have to keep that in mind when joining. So young people, keep that in mind. If you're a young person watching this, keep in mind that it's a mental thing too. So
Yeah. So, did you get your love for tech while you were in the military, or was that something beforehand?
I guess I've always been kind of a nerd, but I never really like I mean, I've done the military was probably my first explorations into electrical and electronic type work, and then messing with uh the onboard computer systems for a lot of the combat vehicles and stuff they have, and so it was all really interesting to me. I learned how to program the microcontrollers and the microcomputers that run the vehicles and stuff, and it's pretty advanced. A lot of it is, so, or I mean, it was at the time. It's probably still advanced, but so I kind of found a love for that sort of, I think, then. And then I started doing like small time stuff, like I kind of took an online course that taught me how to code, because I never really was good at coding, and I not even like web design. Like, I hate web design, man. HTML and all that, it's like but so, but I've always had kind of a knack for, I don't want to say just necessarily technology, but if I saw something I was interested in trying or doing, it's kind of my thing to learn that, and so I can really experience it. And so that's kind of how I started building stuff for like paranormal um, uh, research, is my interest in doing paranormal research and using that equipment. So yeah, that's I almost want to say, I mean, I had a little bit of a background in electronics and stuff, but I didn't have like, I was mainly a mechanic, so I didn't have that in-depth knowledge and professional training and stuff that a lot of people get. So oh wow, that's weird.
Sorry, my Facebook finally started working,
Oh.
and so I'm trying to get the volume and everything off of it.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so I didn't have much of a background, actually, and when I started building paranormal stuff equipment, that's kind of when I started building that background. So my background is very short, like as far as time wise. I've only been doing this stuff for like maybe 5 years now, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And so just one day, people came up and said, "Hey, you want to do a TV show?"
Well, no, I had been doing, I had been building equipment, like I said, for about 5 or 6 years, right? And it was never really like a huge part of what I did up until about 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe was it probably like 2017? Yeah, it's probably about 2017. That's when it started to be like people started noticing what I was building, right? Because I've been building stuff all along, but since I got out of the Army, but nobody really, I mean, the people I knew in my smaller circle, they appreciated what I did and stuff, but I never really meant to make it a big deal, right? And then so I had sent out a piece of equipment with a friend of ours, and kind of on like loaner, and she had it in the room with her when she was auditioning for the TV show, and they saw the equipment and they were like, "Well, who built that?" And she said, "Well, KD." And they said, "Well, can we talk to him?" And so she told me, and I said, "Yeah, I'm fine with talk to him." And so that's just kind of went from there. I mean, I literally stumbled into it. Yeah.
Well, it just seems like fate has a way of doing things like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like the things that, and that's not to say that I never thought it would be cool, right? Because obviously that's something that was always on my bucket list, was to be on TV for something, preferably something good and not like,
America's Most Wanted.
Right. So, yeah.
So Did you already know who Ben Hansen was when you got on the show?
Yeah. I talked with Ben, and we, consulted with some projects on some equipment before, and so so that was interesting. And I was always a fan of Austin Porter, who was helped produce the show, and they worked together on Fact or Faked, Paranormal
Yes.
Files, and that's like one of my all-time favorite paranormal TV shows.
Oh yeah, I watched every one of them.
Right. So it was surreal to get to be there working with them, like directly, Ben and Austin, because I watched their show religiously, so that was surreal to me. I was kind of like, like a fanboy in the whole time, pretty much,
Yeah.
Offset or whatever. Yeah.
I can meet a lot of celebrities and people on television, and I don't normally geek out, but I
Right.
could say twice in my life I have.
Right.
Okay, I don't know if you know him, but have you ever heard of an artist named Boris Vallejo?
I don't think so.
He does a lot of this fantasy stuff, like Conan kind of
Okay.
paintings and things. Well, I followed this guy since I was a kid, and then finally I went to a con, and there he was, and I got to go up and take my picture and get an autograph. Mind you, I'm 20. When I was in my 30s when I met him,
Uh-huh.
and I'm walking away with freaking tears in my eyes, and I'm like, what the hell?
Oh,
but,
wow.
but then I met Gene Simmons back in 2010.
Yeah, see, that's definitely like fanboy
Yeah.
stuff there. But I think I'm actually the opposite. I like big stars. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't get that starstruck around, but like I don't know. Like, it depends on what my I guess it depends on what my like investment is in them. Like um were they idols of mine growing up? So like Gene Simmons would be something like that for a lot of people. And so yeah, but with me it's more like with that show anyway. Like I love that show. That was that was that I just love the approach of the show. I thought everything about the show was great. And yeah, I guess it was same way for me. But I just had like I don't know. I guess it was the respect for the way they did the show. So I was like that's weird. I'm kind of a nerd, so
Oh yeah.
I mean, I probably would act like that though if I got to meet like Jonathan Davis from Korn or Rob Zombie,
Oh yeah.
or Ryan Reynolds, because like that definitely I don't think I could handle that.
I think I could see myself hanging out with Ryan Reynolds on 6th Street here in Austin,
Yeah,
hitting
well,
bars.
yeah, he seems like a cool dude, and there's probably no shortage of laughs there. So
Oh yeah. I could definitely go out and just hang out. I don't have to drink. I can just listen to other people being goofy, and I'm having a good time. So
right, yeah. Well, Ryan Reynolds, that's another thing. Like, I have a lot of respect for him, not just because he did Deadpool so well, but because of his respect for the Deadpool character.
mm-hmm.
Like that he openly displayed and has been. Like he became that character because, and he knows, being a fan of the character himself, he knew what it meant to the fans. So he doesn't step on that, and I think that's
Oh
very
yeah.
honorable of him or whatever.
Well, I could say I did geek out when I met Katie Lotz. So if
Yeah.
you watched Arrow or Legends of Tomorrow, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Arrow. You mean like the Green Arrow
Yeah,
show?
she was the canary, and she went off to Legends of
I
Tomorrow.
didn't I didn't watch that. I'm
Ah,
not a huge fan of DC. I mean, I like some DC, but it's kind of like basic DC. So I don't get
excuse me.
into the whole entire Justice League thing. A lot of people do, and that's cool. I just and some people just like the show. They don't even care about the comic books. But for me, I'm such a comic book nerd that
Oh yeah.
automatically, if a show comes out, let's say Batman. I think Batman's been just crapped on so much recently that, man, and there doesn't seem to be a turnaround for that. It's like they're just like, this ship's going down. We're gonna push it down as fast as possible. So I'm not real happy with the new decisions they've decided to go with Batman.
Yeah.
But hey,
Hey.
to each his own, right?
Yeah.
It's my opinion, and if I choose not to watch it, it is what it is.
Well, I have to remind myself when I go to the movies that it's not going to be what was in the comic book. They've changed it for a reason.
Oh no, yeah, I totally got that. And you know what? It's like a lot of people got mad when they rebooted Spider-Man again, right? And then they rebooted him again, and so there's been like two reboots, like actual reboots, since the original with Tobey Maguire came out. And I was a fan of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, right? I loved it. I thought it was kind of, comical, and it was just the right mixture and everything, and it was more, it was very, like, I can't remember the director's name. What was his name? Oh man, he did Evil Dead.
AV.
He did Evil Dead.
Oh God, yeah, I know who you're talking about, and I'm
Bruce
going,
Campbell. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm having a blank, drawing a blank, but
brain fart.
Right. God dang. You know what? I'm gonna look at. Man, I shouldn't even have to Google that. But anyway, yeah. So, but when they rebooted Spider-Man, a lot of people got mad, and they were like, Andrew Garfield can't be Spider-Man. Only Tobey Maguire can be Spider-Man. I'm like, and a lot of people got mad because they were rebooting it. Why didn't they just continue with the original? Well, there's several reasons for that. Like, and a lot of these people were comic book fans. It's like, okay, just think about it, bro. You have Spider-Man. You have like Spectacular Spider-Man. You have, there's multiple versions of Spider-Man, and like even his origins and all that stuff. And it's in each different telling of the story. And obviously you're not just going to want to just box that character in and never explore anything new with it. So it's about, I understand all that. For me, it's more a problem of the movies just totally sucking.
Yeah.
and the actors that they're choosing, and not to say they're bad actors, they're just the wrong actors a lot of times.
Oh, I can definitely agree with that. I did not like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Well, it's, I don't have so much the problem with the majority of the MCU choices as I do with DC's choices.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, now Green, and it's a lot of times it's not even the actor choices. Like I said, it's just the movie just sucks. It's like they were checking a box that they wanted to check, because there might have been some sort of need for it. But like Green Lantern, for example. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, absolutely.
He was perfect for that part. He was perfect.
Yeah, absolutely no excuse for making that movie suck. I mean, they had Ryan Reynolds, man. They gave you Ryan Reynolds. You had Ryan Reynolds, and you made that movie suck. Well, it's like,
when they brought in the guy that was playing the bad guy, and he's just like
Parallax. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Like, why?
That was ridiculous. And then they brought Sinestro in after that, and so and then they didn't even do anything with it. And it's like, I can't even, and from that point, I think at that point, that's when I started to, but then they had the Dark Knight. They finished the Dark Knight series out after that.
I loved all those.
And the Dark Knight series is the best thing that DC's ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever. They have never done anything better than that, and it doesn't look like they will. I mean, Wonder Woman looks like it's probably a good movie on its own.
I like the first Wonder Woman, and I can't judge the second one because I hadn't seen it yet. But I like the first one.
Yeah, they got 1984, like Wonder Woman 1984 coming out. So, it's just a shame that they're just trashing the whole series there. But hey, it is whatever they want to do. I don't know how we got started on comic books, but
hey, you know what? This is what this show is about, man. Just talk whatever you want to talk about. You don't always have to talk about. I'm a huge comic book
nerd. You know what? It's very nice to not have to talk about paranormal stuff. Not to say that I don't like to, but you know, it's cool just to talk about whatever. So
Well, you'll find with my show that I want my guests to come on and be themselves and talk about what you want to talk about. You know, of course, we'll throw in a little paranormal stuff here and in there, but you know, be
well,
yourself. Say what you want.
in that case, the dude from Twilight is a terrible decision for Batman. Um, you know, you had what's his name for Batman? Oh God, I'm drawing another blank here. Who's the guy that just played Oh my Lord, Ben Affleck.
Ben
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck.
Well, Ben
You
doesn't
had
want to
Ben
work out.
Affleck.
He doesn't want to work out anymore. And I thought he was perfect as Batman.
Well, you know, it's like if I were Ben Affleck, I wouldn't want to do that movie either. I would like purposely like get fat or something. Like, you know, like I don't know, like get out of shape, so you can't be Batman. I don't know. Like because that was terrible. Like Batman versus Superman was, you know,
Well,
I got it. You want to skew off the storyline, the original storyline. That's cool, but you can't make things that didn't suck.
right.
That makes me mad. And you
Okay.
know,
Batman versus Superman. I enjoyed it until they brought in Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. He has no business playing Lex Luthor.
well, it was so soon. Everything was so soon
All
and
right,
smashed
it
together.
was just sped up too fast.
Yeah,
And
that
second
was
of
like
all, that whole story of Doomsday was so off track.
it was so off track that
They
it
should have made a
wasn't.
different movie. They had to have a standalone movie for that story. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
they did.
no, exactly. If they wanted to play on General Zod, fine, play on General Zod. Do whatever you want with General Zod. You know, it's a different telling. Just because you know what's messed up is I liked the Man of Steel.
I liked it too.
That was a good Superman movie. But you know, it's like so. What you do is you put it's hard to imagine now another format for releasing for like building like a super like a comic book universe because MCU has done so well at it
Oh yeah,
that it's like that format if you know if it doesn't look like that and it doesn't make sense like that, I'm not going to want to watch it. You know, if it's like cuz the way they just kind of trickled in the characters, they'd have a cameo appearance in, you know, one of the main characters' movies from another character, and then they'd end up releasing that character's movie next. And then, you know, they had a nice little trajectory for releasing the films, and then, you know, the combination and the fans actually kind of made their own um, like order to watch the movies in. So now you can go and look at the recommended MCU
right.
movie watching order, and that's pretty cool. So I definitely like that format enough to where I feel like just DC is just I don't know if it's DC's
It's kind of hit and miss with them.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's them or if it seems like it has to be them. And just
Well,
the poor decision making on who they're giving the rights to make the movies or something. I don't know, but that's terrible that they're dragging a lot of these good characters through the mud.
um, this is my opinion, but I think what they should have done is number one, they need to pick a different Lex Luthor,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I like Jesse Eisenberg, but it's just not
he was
Lex Luthor.
perfect in the zombie movie. I liked
Yeah,
it,
it's
but
great. Zombieland's a great movie.
I love it. But
Hmm.
you know, if they would have brought in somebody else, they would have taken the story a little bit slower.
Right.
And what they should do is they should wait until they've introduced everybody into the DC universe,
Yeah.
like they did with Marvel. And once
Right.
they've got all the characters together, then you introduce Doomsday and kind of play off of that same story that came out of the comic book.
Right. Yeah. You can't. I mean, because you
Why
can't have.
not? Why
Yeah.
not?
You. Doomsday was exactly what his name implies. He was Doomsday. He was apocalypse for superheroes, pretty much. So, and that's what he did. I remember, and I guess this is part of the reason why I'm so butthurt about that movie. is because I was 13 when all this stuff was transpiring in the comic books. You know, I was between the ages of like 11 and 13 as all this stuff was coming out. And so, you know, to read the comics as they came out and to see Superman and the Justice League, or it started out with the Justice League battling Doomsday, you know, and Doomsday's like headed for Metropolis, and you know, once he gets outside of Metropolis, here comes Superman, and there's this epic battle that just ensues for like 2 or 3 issues, and then they end up ultimately, you know, in short order killing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was such an epic part of my comic book experience when I was a kid, that it seemed like they just purposely took a crap on, you know, that experience for me. And because I don't know who's making decisions and thought that was a good idea for any of that storyline to go the way it did. And you know, like I say, I'm cool with changing. You know, like I say, MCU, everything's not exactly the way it was in comics.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm not angry about it because it's not a ridiculous retelling of the situation. It makes sense. The way they did it makes sense.
Did you did you
DC.
ever read the story of the origin of Doomsday?
I believe I did, and it didn't really have. Okay, originally, I think that was a retrofit, is what that was. Like, because they went back and they were trying
Mm-hmm.
to make it work, and you know, I get that. Um, but initially, Doomsday was like not supposed to have a backstory. You know, like Shield was just they found, or not Shield. Whatever, whoever it's the equivalent of Shield in DC, but they had just like had him sealed up because he was this monstrosity and he couldn't get loose, and then he got loose, and then this is what happened. So that was like kind of the point, I think, you know, initially anyway, was
Like the
there.
Joker.
Yeah, there was no point. This
Yeah.
is the point with Doomsday. This is what drives him, is just nothing. He just wants to destroy. And Superman, for whatever reason, but it wasn't like initially meant for us to know why. And I think they kind of did that for a reason, because they had some future plans that were bad, like with Nick Cage.
Oh God, I saw clips of that. I'm
And
glad that movie didn't happen.
all that was being talked about at that time, you know. And it's like, you know, and I think they kind of wanted to leave it open ended. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big authority on comics. Like, there's probably a lot of people who are way more knowledgeable about everything and how it transpired. But you know, the way I remember it, completely nothing like, you know. So
I,
yeah,
s-
that turned me off.
I have the origin story of Doomsday. I like it. I think
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Oh, and it probably is. I haven't read it because, like I said, I fell off with DC a while back.
I'll let you borrow it sometime.
Okay, yeah, cool. Um, but yeah, I can just speak from my experiences. You know, like 11-year-old and a 13-year-old. Like, you know, looking back, my 13-year-old self would probably hate that.
Yeah,
Would probably just absolutely hate that. So
think I was about to my mid 20s when all that came out.
yeah,
So yeah, but
it was like
you know
early
what?
'90s. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm a nerd. I'm gonna keep watching as long as there's two superhero movies. I'm going. I might be in a wheelchair, but I'm gonna go.
I see. I'm not a big movie fan. I like going to movies. I like
Mhm.
to, you know, I got my TV, got my big TV in the living room, and I'll watch movies at home. It depends on what it is. Like if it's
That's me. That's me. It depends on the movie.
yeah,
Just like the Avengers, I could not wait. I had to go to the theater to see
yeah. And you know what's crazy is even though I wasn't a big DC fan and I was a Marvel fan, I wasn't a huge fan of the Avengers per se when I was younger. Like it was mainly X-Men. Like X-Men was my thing. That was you know, Wolverine. It was X-Men. I hated Cyclops like everybody. and yeah, Magneto. You just had all the really cool, like it was drama. It was like a comic book drama more than the other comics were. I felt like so.
Okay, so who's your favorite Marvel character?
You know, now it's Deadpool, and it has been for a long time, even before the movies started coming out. But for the longest time, it was Wolverine. And you know what's weird is I really became a hardcore Deadpool fan whenever the Wolverine movie came out,
Mm-hmm.
but not because of that movie. Because it was because of that movie, but it's not because Deadpool was so on point in that movie, because it was way off. It was the most terrible thing I had ever seen as far as a superhero being portrayed on a movie screen. That original Deadpool was
Oh God,
terrible,
it was.
but it was only terrible when they made him Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds was great, and he was on point until they actually made him Deadpool, and that's when it was terrible, right? And so at that point, I was like, man, that's not Deadpool, And so I start going back and looking through my Deadpool comics, because I did have Deadpool comics, and it was I was like, yeah, no, and then that's when I really got more on the Deadpool bandwagon, even though I knew a lot about him. But yeah, Wolverine was always my favorite, man, and I thought Hugh Jackman was great. I thought the movies could have been done a lot better, but hey, I'm not gonna sit here and whine about everything. But
Marvel's got the X-Men back.
right,
So.
yeah. So MCU, Disney. Hey, you know what? I used to hate on Disney a lot, but I'm not even gonna say anything because
Better not, because they're going to own everything before you know it anyway.
yeah, you think somebody come along and be like competition or something, but it doesn't look like it, does it? You know what? And I mean, is that messed up? Like as far as like Disney basically controlling all the content that we consume on the big screen, and a lot of it on the small screen, and so like, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to not appreciate it because of what they have done with some of the movies, like the MCU. So
Well, Disney,
I feel like they're in my house. Like they invaded
they
my house
probably they
a long
are.
time ago, like years ago.
They're watching. They're watching your every move.
Right? They know Disney knows everything about me. So
and and so does Siri.
yeah.
Siri knows everything.
Well, I got rid of Siri. I have an Android now.
No, okay.
So yep.
Well, look,
Now it's just Google.
yeah. Well,
Google
all
owns me.
those they're all listening.
Google owns me pretty much. So everything I have is Google. I have Google Fiber Internet, and I have YouTube. That's what I watch, and Google owns YouTube, and like so, like everything that I've consumed ad related, because I watch YouTube and I listen to YouTube music. So everything I consume ad related is basically decided by Google.
Well,
That's messed up.
we've proved this time and time and again. We'll sit there and we'll have a conversation about something, and then as soon as you turn your phone on and you start to look for anything, what you were talking about pops up on your phone.
Right. No, yeah. Or it comes up in your like a ad for it will come up on your Facebook feed.
Exactly. All the time.
Mhm. Yeah, they know.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of time left, and I know we've gotten completely off the subject.
We did. Ask me some paranormal stuff, because I wanted. I mean,
All right, I'm gonna see if you give me the same answer that Sarah gave me. Are we gonna see more ghosts in Morgan City?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
See, that's pretty close to what she said.
And but if I knew, I couldn't say.
I understand that.
If I knew either way.
This is her answer. Stay tuned. Just
stay tuned. Yeah, and I say that a lot.
We'll see. Stay tuned.
Right. I'm sorry, my daughter's messaging me.
No.
Distracting me. Yeah, stay tuned. Obviously, things have been kind of put on hold pretty much everywhere and
Yes.
everything for a while. So if we were gonna have something coming out, it may have been delayed. So or even doing anything. So just because we haven't put anything out yet doesn't mean we're not. I'm gonna say that,
You know,
but it also doesn't mean we are.
right. I hear you. My wife was raised in Morgan City.
Oh, okay, cool. So there's a personal kind of connection there. That's awesome.
Yes.
Why is my phone? See, dude, I was talking about Google, and look at this. You can't see it probably. Dang it.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's
It's
all
too
lit
blurry.
up.
Yeah, it come up and started listening to me.
Well, of course.
That's nuts. That is nuts, man. Did I say hey Google?
I don't remember that, but
I mean, I remember saying Google, but that's all you have to say, and then it starts recording your on your Androids. That's nuts. Anyway.
I changed my Siri though on my phone. It sounds like an English butler.
Oh yeah, I had the Irish chick.
All right, so Morgan City. Has there been a place there that just creeped you the hell out, and you were not going to go in there at all, or you're just go get them?
There's not a lot of places, and I'm not trying to like flex or be Billy badass, but there's not a lot of places that I get afraid to even investigate or to walk into. There's obviously places that I get the creeps when I walk into, but I'm kind of weird. It kind of that motivates me to find out what's going on as opposed to some people being turned the other way. So actually for me, the creepier, the better. Um, so no, there were no places. There were places that I was super excited about investigating, like the headquarters building. That was a big one for me because I did get a vibe in there from that place, and like the first time I walked in, so that was a really cool investigation to do. And then the lake was pretty much outside, but it was kind of a creepy atmosphere, definitely when everything was happening, but not like a constant thing like a lot of places you go to are. Like it doesn't matter when you go in, you creeped out. But yeah, there were definitely some places that are down there that are definitely pretty scary places for most people.
To me, it don't matter where you go in Louisiana. It seems a little scary.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely some creepy places all over. And I lived down there for I lived in Leesville for
Yeah.
like 2 years, 3 years when I was in the army right before I got out. So because I was stationed at Fort Polk, so
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah, I
Did,
was right up the road there.
did you meet any of the guys from Swamp People while you were there?
No, I met one of the guys whenever at a convention. No. That wasn't Swamp People. That was mountain monsters or whatever those guys are. Those dudes are a trip. No, but no, I never got to meet like the people from Swamp People. I met some Swamp People,
Oh, there's plenty of them in Louisiana.
not those Swamp People.
I'll tell you a real quick story, and I'll get off talking about myself. But yeah, like I said, my wife, she was raised in Morgan City. Well, we made a trip there for a wedding, and so we're at the wedding, and lo and behold, Troy Landry from Swamp People comes in, and we got to hang out with him. Because the families, they all know each other around there. Which is kind of cool. I know it bores.
Yeah. No, they definitely all know each other. Yeah, this is a very tight knit Cajun community down there. I have met a lot of really cool Cajun folk down there. So, you know, they're
Oh,
just generally well, they have, and I'm not saying that this myself, but I'm saying a lot of people say this in Louisiana, and you can interpret this the way you want. They say anybody below, anywhere you go below Highway 10 like you're welcome there. Like
Oh yeah,
everybody's very
I-10.
welcoming, and yeah, I-10. So everybody's very welcoming, and everybody's very friendly, and everybody kind of knows each other or knows of their families or whatever. And so that's a pretty common thing down there.
Oh yeah. You know, all in all, when you meet people from the South, they're generally really nice people, and they'll show you so much hospitality.
Hmm.
You know, especially when it comes to eating. If you don't eat when a Southern person um, offers it to you, then you have offended them,
You don't usually have a lot of choice.
right? So I heard y'all got a lot of crawfish while you were there.
Oh man, yeah, I was sharing videos, just dumping out like buckets of crawfish. Yeah, I was killing it. I love crawfish.
Did you suck the heads?
Oh yeah. Tails, side of the head. Yes, sir. Yeah, we had that. They actually we had a big cookout, and there's a lot of cool people there that made some really great food, and they're just very interesting people, and
Oh
like
yeah.
they're very interesting to talk to, and fun to talk to. So yeah, Louisiana is always a awesome place to go.
Oh yeah.
Not real fond of the love bugs in late summer. Um,
Yeah,
the love
especially
bugs, they get on my nerves, but outside of that, it's a great place.
especially when you're driving around and they get all over your vehicle. You'd
Oh
like
yeah.
to never get those things cleaned off.
Yep. And I mean it's they're like secret ninja bugs too, because you look out your window and you're like, okay, I don't even see any love bugs out there flying around all over the place. As soon as you walk outside, they just appear out of nowhere like ninjas and just flying all in your face, trying to like land on your eye and stuff. It's like, man, it's crazy. There's so many of them. Yeah, they get stuck all over your car, eat the paint off your car.
Oh yeah. Then the June
It's,
bugs. Don't forget the June bugs.
oh well, June bugs. We get them pretty much everywhere I've lived. I've had June bugs. So yeah, like South Carolina's pretty big on June bugs.
What's that combination? You got the love bugs and the June bugs at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's true. I don't like the spiders in the fall. The big orb weavers.
Oh, those barn door spiders. They look scary as hell. I mean, they won't hurt you, but they just look scary.
Man, yeah, to get one on me, I just lose my mind. I'm not a fan of spiders. Like I'm not terrified. I'm not gonna run from 'em. But that's one thing now that scares me. Like when I have to go in a place that's just chock full of spiders. Oh, and unfortunately, a lot of the places I have to go are like that. So it's hard for me to be afraid of anything else when I'm being afraid of freaking spiders
Well, you
the
can come
entire
here
time,
and
I
deal
guess.
with the scorpions.
No, man, I'm good. I'm good on the scorpions too. Pretty much insects in general. I'm not a big fan.
Okay. Are you a fan of the Gamecocks?
um, my dad would probably not be happy with me if I said I wasn't.
Oh, okay. We won't tell him then.
Well, I grew up in a different part of the state, and so like I grew up right next to Clemson.
Oh,
So
okay. I got you.
I mean I grew up in Anderson County, and that's where Clemson University is sits inside Anderson County, and so I remember riding down the Tiger Paws quite often. So it was hard to be a Carolina fan and be in the same town,
Yeah.
not the same town, but the same county as Clemson, right? But I ended up being a fan of both, and I didn't really get into the whole rivalry thing because I didn't have time for it. So,
I
so
hear
yes, but
you.
yes, ultimately, yes, I am a Gamecocks fan. So Carolina Gamecocks and Clemson
Well,
Tigers.
I rooted for Clemson when they were playing Alabama because I
Right.
hate Alabama. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I hate Alabama. But
Well, yeah.
when they went to the championship and LSU was there,
Hmm.
sorry, I had to switch to LSU.
Yeah, a lot of people are LSU fans, and that's
Hey,
quite. It's
My
quite
wife,
understandable.
my wife is a big LSU and Saints fan, so
Right. And I don't know this for sure, but unless you have some kind of tie to like South Carolina or something, I would imagine most people would make that decision to choose LSU over. Because I mean, what other reason would you have to?
well, only reason why I ask is I had a friend of mine from high school. He played a little bit in the NFL, but then he ended up being the linebackers coach for South Carolina.
Oh, cool.
So I had to root for him while he was there.
Right. Yeah, I remember I watched Carolina Gamecocks play like for years and years and years. All through football season, and yep. We also had we have the who's it the Paladins.
Okay.
It's like another college team, but yeah. But
Yeah.
they weren't that big of a deal as Clemson and Carolina obviously were and still are.
Yeah. Well, I root for Vanderbilt when I'm not rooting for my Longhorns. So if
Right.
that tells you anything, I'm used to the losing part of it anyway.
Right.
Vanderbilt, not UT. Come on, UT.
Oh, it was
But
Furman University. Furman University is the Paladins. That's what it
okay,
is. Yeah.
I got
But
you.
they're not like a big college team. So, but
Well,
anyway,
so we got off of paranormal again.
and and on to football somehow, which is like not even one of my, not even a big topic for me.
Hey,
But
dude, I'm from Texas. We
it's like,
live, breathe,
oh,
eat,
I
sleep football.
yeah, I know. I've had some friends from Texas, and they live
Dude,
by it. So I completely understand.
I don't care if it's high school, if it's college, it's the
If
new
it's if it could be
XFL. I don't
Little
care.
League, we'll watch Little League. Just
Yeah, exactly. They're playing little league across the street. Hey,
yep.
let's check it out. Hey,
Hey, you kids playing football today out in the backyard? All right. Well, they canceled all the games, so we're
you know,
just gonna set up some chairs and
we even
yeah.
have a lingerie league that plays here.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've heard about the lingerie league. Yeah, yeah.
I don't care if it's football. We're gonna watch it.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the way it is in South Carolina too. Because there ain't a whole lot else to do.
Mhm.
So,
I hear you.
so Thursday, Friday nights is JV and then varsity football games every week. But
I hear
basically
you.
whatever sports in season, we're gonna be at those games. Like that's just the way it is growing up. And well, for me, that's the way it was out in the
Oh,
country.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yep.
So, let's we might stay on Facebook a little bit longer, but
Okay.
we'll end the show. And where I like to end the show is if you have any kind of projects or you want people to get in touch with you, how do they go about it?
Well, yeah, I'm part of Supernatural Inc., paranormal research organization. So, Facebook, Supernatural Inc. with a K, and we also that's myself, my wife Katie Stafford, and William Pimblott or Doug, as we know him, and so yeah, we do a lot of stuff on there, and I build equipment also, and Doug does, and we post that stuff on there. So if you want to check any of that stuff out, you can go there and check that out. Supernatural Inc. on Facebook. Also have a Instagram page. I don't really get on there that much, but
Yeah, I noticed that.
yeah, I used to, but it's like I just don't. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of posting stuff and I'm constantly, a lot of people are whatever they do is like on the computer anyway. So, but me, I'm like working my hands all the time, so it's hard to. But anyway, so yeah, you can go there and check that out. We have a website that hopefully will be operational soon. That'll be supernaturalinc.com. So we're working on that, and yeah, that's it. And
Yeah.
I would say events that we're gonna be doing soon, but not really doing any now. Well, we do have out in Ohio. They're putting on an event. Um, did they reschedule Ottawa? So is it still rescheduled? So for now, we still have an event out in Ottawa in May, scheduled for
Oh.
May for now, and that's tentative, obviously. And when did we reschedule the Patterson event for? May also. So we have the Patterson. We have a Patterson event coming up, Patterson House event coming up, and so I think we have we'll have a few tickets left for that, right? Because some people. Okay, so there's 5 spots for that left open. So it's like a small event.
Okay.
And yeah, so events, and like I say, you can go on the Supernatural Inc. page and find all that stuff. So
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Thank you for being on Into the Pit.
Yeah, no problem. I had fun. Thank you for
feel
having me on.
I feel so humbled because you and Sarah and Ben have all been on my show, and
That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel it's nice to be included.
oh, well, Sarah, she really spoke highly of you, and
That's
she
awesome.
made sure when I was talking about the show that I mentioned your name. So I'm like, thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, Sarah's a good person. She's
awesome.
she ain't got a bad bone in her body, so
Uh, she's an angel, I
Yep.
must say.
Yep.
Okay, well.
Po boy.